All right, today we're diving into one of the most daring and ancient traditions on Earth. It's an incredible story of courage, of knowledge passed down through generations, and a hunt for a treasure they call liquid gold.
So let me just ask you this straight up. Would you risk your life for honey? For most of us, that's going to be a pretty quick no. But for a very select few, this isn't some crazy hypothetical. It's just their way of life.
So let's get right to the heart of it, this quest for liquid gold. We're talking about pure, wild honey. But this stuff isn't found on a supermarket shelf. Oh no, it's hidden in some of the most remote, hard-to-reach places you can imagine, and it's guarded by tens of thousands of giant honeybees. The prize is sweet for sure, but getting there is anything but.
And just to give you a sense of the scale here, we are talking about climbs of up to 150 feet. That's 45 meters, straight up the side of a colossal tree. That's basically like climbing a 15-story building. Think about that for a second. And the hive, that prize, is waiting all the way at the top.
And here's the part that's just mind-blowing. Look at what's missing. You don't see any modern ropes. There are no safety nets, no fancy climbing gear. The only things these harvesters have are their own strength, this deep, deep knowledge of the forest, and skills that have been passed down for generations. It is pure human ingenuity against the raw power of nature.
Now, a climb like this doesn't just start with taking a first step up the tree. A successful harvest really begins way before that, right there on the ground with some seriously meticulous preparation. This is not some reckless dash to the top. It's a calculated, almost sacred process.
You know, everything has its place, its order. First, the smoker, which is absolutely crucial, is prepared very carefully. Then, the blades they'll use to cut the honeycomb are sharpened to perfection. They'll even read the direction of the wind, something that's going to be critical when they're way up there. And so importantly, there's this moment of quiet reflection, of respect for the bees, for the tree, and for the tradition itself.
And let's talk about this smoker for a sec, because it's brilliant. It isn't an act of aggression at all. It's actually this really clever bit of applied bee biology. The smoke gently calms the hive because it masks the alarm signals, the pheromones, that bees use to warn each other about danger. This lets the harvesters get right up close to the colony without causing a massive panic. It's really about cooperation, not confrontation.
So, with all the preparations complete, the real test begins. This is the part that demands just absolute, unbroken focus. The long, perilous climb up into the sky. Every single move counts.
Watching them climb is, well, it's like a masterpiece of human physicality. They use these tiny carved notches or just natural holds in the bark, and they move with this rhythm that looks almost impossible. It's this incredible mix of raw strength, perfect balance, and a mind that is completely 100% locked in. A single mistake, just one lapse in concentration, that's not an option up here.
You know, there's this belief among the harvesters that they're in a sort of dialogue with the tree. They have to feel its strength, listen to the way it creaks and groans, and trust instincts that have been honed over a lifetime of practice. It's just this incredibly profound connection between the person and the forest.
So, after that unbelievable ascent, the climber finally reaches the summit. But wow, the challenge is far from over. Now they're literally face to face with the hive, and this is where the most delicate work has to begin, all while surrounded by a swirling cloud of wild bees.
From this point on, every single movement becomes slow, deliberate, and calm. The whole goal is to get that honey with as little disturbance to the colony as possible. I mean, the harvester is an intruder in their home, and they know that respect and caution are the most important tools they have.
And these final moments are just a masterclass in precision. A little puff of smoke is gently applied, then, with a razor-sharp tool, the harvester makes these perfect cuts to free the heavy, dripping honeycomb. It's then carefully placed into a basket, which gets lowered to the ground. And here, this is the most important part. A big chunk of the honeycomb is always left behind. This makes sure the colony has more than enough food to survive. This is sustainability in its purest, most ancient form.
And there it is, success. After facing those terrifying heights and thousands of bees, the liquid gold is secured. It's a moment of triumph, absolutely, but also one of deep gratitude. Now they just have to get down, which is just as dangerous, but the hardest part of the quest is over.
So you have to ask, right? Why go through all of this? This unbelievable effort. It's not just about getting some honey. It's about upholding a tradition that is absolutely vital to the community and their connection to the world around them. When you lay it all out, the trade-off is just incredible. On one side, you've got these constant dangers, the bee stings, the dizzying heights, the sheer physical exhaustion, and the unpredictability of nature. But on the other side, the rewards are so profound. It's not just the pure, wild honey or the income it provides. It's about preserving an entire culture and maintaining that deep, spiritual link to the forest itself.
Because really, at the end of the day, what we're watching here isn't just a job. It's a legacy. The skills, the knowledge of the bees, the respect for the trees, this is an inheritance, passed from one generation to the next, and it carries the very identity of a people with it.
And that kind of brings us to the big question this all leaves us with. You know, as our world keeps changing, with new jobs and different ways of life calling to the younger generations, you have to wonder about the future of traditions like this one. Who will have the courage, the skill, and the passion to keep this incredible legacy alive? That's definitely something worth thinking about.